Hello everybody, I'm the Meister and welcome back to Aubrey City in episode 7 of City Skylines. A lot of changes in the last couple of weeks, guys. An uneventful event happened to Aubrey City. Ever since the new natural disasters update, I've been having some really severe issues with the game. And I thought it was just best to reinstall completely the game, start from scratch, download a whole new set of mods, and that's exactly what I've done. So let me just put this back to daytime so you guys can see a little bit better. And it's raining and it's severely affecting my frame rate, so bear with me, guys. So essentially what I did, the entire city was lost due to corruption. The game just wouldn't handle the old Aubrey City anymore. So the reason that I've been slacking off a little bit for this video was I've actually built the entire city back from scratch. It's still not entirely done. As you can see, the port, there's a few open spots right here. I'm still trying to figure out what to do. But that's slowly coming apart, or being put back together, rather. But overall, the city remained mostly the same. The beach is pretty much the same, except a few little modifications. So you can see here, the beach has changed, or this area has changed a little bit. I've downloaded some trees and nice foliage props, so I find it looks even better than the original Aubrey City beach. I've downloaded a whole new set of beach houses, so these guys right here. I mean, that really adds a lot of realism to this beach theme, as well as these low-level apartments here. I find it looks super good. But the main feature of the beach is this park that I've built. So similar to the other park, there's a walkway that goes along the entire length of the beach. But I decided to make this little park kind of thing all around it. So there's benches all over the place. You can see a carousel right here. I think I put a bouncy house at some point. Yeah, right here. So I find that I just added a little bit more life to the beach. You can see here that I built this little custom park from scratch. I've added some what are those called? No, not templates or whatever. Anyways, I've added a little boardwalk thing, which is pretty cool. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So not a huge loss in this section. In the residential section here, not much has changed. The housing theme changed a little bit, not much. You can see that the trees are a little bit different, so I've downloaded some nice oak trees. I find they look a lot better than the vanilla trees. And some of you requested that, recommended that I downloaded different trees to add a little bit more realism. And that's exactly what I did. And it seems there has been a fire here. All the trees are dead. Might be pollution too, I don't know. What else? The industrial park has grown a little bit. The bridge is a little bit more north, or well, in this case this is north, a little bit more east than the original bridge was, so the industrial park grew a little bit. I haven't finished building this side of it yet. I just plopped down a whole bunch of power plants just to see how they look, and to provide power to the city temporarily. But this is all going to change eventually. What else? Oh, this interchange is exactly the same as it used to be. The only thing, I haven't finished plopping down my props and signs and all that yet, but I'll get around to it. And I've started to use the Move It mod as well, so that helped a lot. I find this interchange looks even a little bit better than the old one due to having the Move It mod. It's a lot more friendly to create realistic interchanges. So that's pretty much a must now. Chinatown, I haven't downloaded the super huge Chinatown prop pack. I find it just took up a lot of room. It was over 1,000 mods, 1,000 assets rather. So I kept it simple. I've just added a few little lights, and I've created these little alleyway markets. I don't find it's as nice as the original park, or as the original Chinatown. But you know, whatever. I've downloaded a whole bunch of new buildings as well. As you can see here, these weren't in my asset list the first time, well, in the first half of the series. So yeah, these buildings are new. I kind of don't like that they're too identical. I think I might tear one down. But anyways, guys, that's where we're at now. So we're pretty much at the same spot that we left off with, just with some minor modifications. I've modified this little part of the city, so rather than having high-level apartments all over the place, there's these little 3 or 4 stories apartments everywhere. So I think it looks really cool. So yeah, that's what's new. That's one of the main reasons why it's taken me so long to release this episode. But I assure you guys that it'll be mostly smooth sailing from now on. I've been playing the game for like 2 weeks now without any crashes or anything like that. So we're gonna hope for some better performance as time goes on. Let me just pause the time here. Oh, and what's great is, as you can see here, the day and night mod started working again. Or it's not the exact same, it's from a different creator. But it works, so that's a huge bonus for you guys. This here has all been rebuilt. This is what we did in the last episode. The only thing that's changed is I built this little interchange here, which I really like. I told you guys in the last episode that in this episode we're going to build a nice interchange to connect this bridge here. I'm still not too sure how I'm going to do that yet. It's a little challenging due to this steep incline here. So we're going to figure out what we're going to do. I think it might not be an interchange after all. I think it might just be a little interchange here connecting to a road, connecting to the bridge. I'm not too sure. But we're probably going to do that next episode, or maybe at the end of this episode. I'm not too sure yet. What I want to work on now is adding props to this stretch of highway. And I'm really eager to start building our little marina section right over here. So this is kind of be like a more party part of the city, old streets and restaurants and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see develop. So yeah, let's get that started. Hopefully it's going to stop raining, because it does impede the performance of the game a little bit. So for the next few minutes, guys, I'm going to fast forward through this. I think I might actually skip to when the rain stops a little bit more. It'll be a little bit more fun for you guys. Oh yeah, one other thing that I should mention is I just temporarily connected all the highways together just to make the city flow a little bit more cleanly, because otherwise everybody was just coming through this road right here and it was just a mess. So yeah, that's all temporary for now. Alright, so what are we doing today, guys? Today we are gonna add some props to our highway downtown link. So, gonna add some lights, some signs, some road barriers, all sorts of stuff. We're gonna really give some life to this road. And to make it as safe as possible, we're gonna add some merge signs and all sorts of stuff. So, that's gonna go on for the next couple of minutes. After that, we're gonna move along and start to construct a park that's gonna be just beside the bridge that crosses the river. Not the main highway bridge, but the other one that you'll see in just a minute. One thing that I'm kind of disappointed with these road barriers here is they're not terrain conforming at all. They stay level, but I mean they will sort of follow the terrain, and I really dislike that on this little hill here. It looked pretty ugly, so I opted for our regular road barriers. The road barriers that you're seeing me plop right now, I really wish that they were categorized as a prop, because then you could use the prop line tool and you know, just line them up the whole highway. Because I find they look a little bit better in this case as a median divider. The only alternative to that are these little cement barriers that you're seeing me plop down right now. I would have kind of liked to have those wide cement barriers all along the highway. But because I can't plop them in a series of lines like I can with these ones, it would have just taken me like hours just to do that. So I figured that it wouldn't be my best option. But I mean, I'm still happy with the way this looks. To go over exactly what happened to the original Aubrey City, it was the next day after Episode 6 was released, and the next day after the Natural Disasters update was released. So Episode 6 was completely recorded before the Natural Disasters update, and soon after that I started recording Episode 7. As soon as I started up the game, everything was fine. It's just when I loaded up the Aubrey City map, as soon as I loaded it up, everything was corrupt. Buildings were missing, the map was all screwed up. So I fidgeted for hours trying to get the game to run as it did before, and to no avail. So I figured that, as I mentioned before, it would just be easier to start over new. You know, it would just make things easier in the long run, because up until now, I was just fighting with the game constantly. Every time I would go to fire up the game to record an episode, things would go wrong. I would have to spend an entire day just to troubleshoot and you know, to fix the issues with the game. And even then, it wouldn't run very stable. I mean, I would experience crashes every couple minutes, and it you know, that's one of the main reasons why it would take so long between videos. You know, it was really frustrating too. I mean, there were days where, you know, I just didn't even feel like starting the game at all, just because I knew how bad it was gonna go. So I figured I would just start from scratch. So what I did, I uninstalled the game from my Steam library, deleted all my mods, all my assets, the whole works, and I just started from scratch. So at the time, well, before episode 6, I was running approximately just under 2,000 assets and mods, I think. Yeah, around 2,000, we're gonna say. Now, going into episode 7, I have under 1,000. I'm gonna try to keep it under 1,000. I have some buildings in my unique building set that I want to get rid of, so that's gonna free up a few mods, a few assets rather. But I would like to keep it under 1,000 as much as possible. After that, I find that it puts quite a bit of load on the game. Then, yeah, I mean, reading forums and articles and things, many people have been experiencing many problems after you reach a certain amount of mods. So I'm gonna try to avoid that. So essentially, I deleted all my assets, all my mods, started from scratch, downloaded pretty much all the most common, the most important mods, you know, such as network extensions, you guys know what. And there's a whole bunch of new mods that just came out too. If you guys follow FluxTrans and Strict Toaster in them, which I know you all do, and I do as well, FluxTrans mentioned in his last video that he uses the cinematic camera mod, and what that allows you to do is to create these cinematic sort of cutscenes in the game. Well, you're gonna see exactly what I mean at the end of the video. I created these nice little cutscenes of our park that we're gonna build a little later in the episode, and after downloading that, I realized that for somebody who makes, you know, YouTube videos of city skylines in general, it's almost an essential mod, just because it looks so clean and so smooth. And as FluxTrans mentioned, the difference between the cinematic camera extended mod, which is the newer version of the just the plain cinematic camera mod, one of the biggest changes is the way the mod reduces the impact on your FPS when creating these little cutscenes. Originally in the cinematic camera mod, which I'd never used before, it'd be super difficult to create nice cutscenes just because of the high taxing on your GPU, and your cutscenes would always have this little choppiness to it. And with the new mod, you can sort of work around that and play with the speed of the cutscene a little bit. So basically the way it works is you put your point A and your point B to where you want your view to go. It's sort of hard to explain, but you'll get it once you see the cutscene at the end of the video. But you can sort of play around with the speed that the camera will go from point A to point B. And if you are having choppy video, all you have to do is slow down the speed of the camera, but then in post editing you speed it up a little bit, and it's a lot smoother. You know, I'm just repeating myself after FluxTrans, but I've tried it out myself and it works flawlessly. It's absolutely amazing what you can do with it. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the main mods that I am using now to create videos. Well, not at the moment, but when I want to create nice cutscenes, that's a must-have. So at this point, guys, if we're talking about the game again, I'm pretty much done propping the highway that we have here. Well, almost done. I'm done the main part, you know, plopping signs and all that. And what I want to do now is to create easy access to our bridge, which doesn't have a name yet. So if anybody can request any nice names for the bridge that you see right now, that would be pretty awesome. But I'd like to create an easy access to the downtown from that bridge. So all the commuters coming from the east side of town who use this bridge won't have to go through a whole bunch of traffic lights and a whole bunch of trouble just to get through to the downtown core. So that is one of the main reasons behind this little interchange that I'm building. And also I want to make it so everybody coming from or to downtown from the highway can make it onto this bridge very easily. Again, without having to take an exit and go through downtown, you know, go through a bunch of traffic lights, and it's just going to bottleneck everything. I think this should improve traffic going to the eastern part of the city pretty good once it's up and running. And if I notice that it's not handling the traffic as good as I want it to, I can always make modifications to the interchange. Because this interchange is not going to be a developed section of the city, it's going to be a huge park that's going to be around it. So if ever I have some changes to make to the roads or to add some other exits or entry points or anything like that, I can do it with minimal impact to the city itself. When I started building this interchange, I was kind of lost. Like what you're seeing right now is the interchange configuration that I chose. But before this, I tried maybe like 3 or 4 times to create a nice interchange into the park. So these 2 exits that you see here that are kind of in a weird format, this is going to be the entry point into the park. Now, for the park, it's going to be, you know, full of walking trails, and it's going to be more of a nature park is what this is going to be. So as we move along here, you're going to see it take shape, and I'm super happy with the way this turned out. So yeah, this is going to be the park, which also doesn't have a name yet. So if you guys can think of a really good name for the park, please do. Now this little interchange that I'm building right now, it's based off of of an interchange in Montreal. Now I base a lot of my stuff in this city off of Montreal, just having lived there and having explored the city. You know, I get some ideas from that location. It's not exactly the same, it's just, you know, a portion of it is based on it. But I really like the look of it, and I mean it looks pretty efficient too. This is not going to be a high traffic area. That bridge that you see above the interchange, that's going to be more of our high traffic area. So, you know, after everybody goes home from work, they're going to take that exit to go to the east part of the city. So I can expect some bottlenecking in this part, especially where the exit connects to the bridge. We might see a little bit of traffic there, but it shouldn't be too bad. If we go back to talking about mods, one of the main mods that I am using right now is the rush hour mod. And if you guys aren't familiar with that, what it does is it adds a little bit of realism to the game, in the sense that, like the vanilla game, what happens is nothing is based on time in the game. It's kind of hard to explain, but essentially what happens in the original, in the vanilla version of the game, is that people will end up going to college and to school at 3 o'clock in the morning, and people will begin to go to work at, 5 in the morning. There was no organization to the time in the game. So essentially what the rush hour mod does is everybody gets up at 8 o'clock and they go to work and they go to school, and everybody starts their shifts, such as police officers and whatever. Or I think actually police officers, it's 24/7, which would make sense. But essentially the larger part of the population in the city gets up at the same time and goes to work, which creates huge strain on the road network of your city. So you have to sort of plan around that. So you'll have your peak times, I think it's between like 7 and 9 in the morning, and then you'll have another rush hour from 4 to 6, sort of like you do in a normal city. So it adds a little bit of fun to the game too, just having to plan around that. It's pretty exciting, and you do see a pretty big difference too. And one of the big changes that it has in the game is the clock that's in the lower left of the screen no longer goes by days every 3 seconds. A day is actually, I think it's probably about 15 minutes now. I'd say around 15 minutes. So every 5 minutes you have your big rush hour rush in the city, and it's pretty cool to see. Also, it does add a little bit of strain to your CPU too, so it can have an impact on performance, but it's not big of a deal. So as you can see, our little park is shaping up, adding some walking trails all over the place, and what you're seeing me build right now is a little look off of this cliff that I noticed here. So I'm gonna add some chairs, and I believe I add a fountain here, maybe not. But anyways, it's just a little place where people can sit down and relax. Also, for assets, I completely started my asset list from scratch, meaning that in my old asset list that I have, I'd say maybe a good third of all the assets that I had were outdated, and some of them had so many polygons that, you know, it would severely affect the performance of the game once you start seeing many of those buildings plopping up. So I deleted those. Essentially, the asset list, or the asset packs that I do have, I have all the New York assets. I have a whole bunch of American old style housing. You know, anything that I found to be realistic in an American style city. Also a whole bunch of newer housing, the neo-eclectic theme, I believe it's called. So those sort of assets that I do have. So I mean, it severely affected the performance of the game. I find that the game runs a lot smoother now. In terms of crashing, I have not had very many crashes at all, if any. Maybe 2 or 3, but I don't think they were caused by the game itself. I think I was maybe doing some other stuff in Sony Vegas which caused the game to crash. But other than that, everything seems to be going super well. As I've stated at the beginning of the video, I've been playing for about 2 weeks without issue. So let's hope for some stable gameplay from now on. Another big change that I've incorporated into Aubrey City 2.0 are the trees that I use, as you've noticed so far. So I no longer use the vanilla trees as I used to do, as much as possible anyways. I've downloaded this nice tree pack that includes a whole bunch of different pine and deciduous trees. And they're really highly textured, so they add a lot of realism. They're super nice. So this is what I'm going to be using from now on. The only downside that I can think about these trees is because they are so highly textured, I think we might see a decrease in performance over time as we plot more of them. But honestly, if we do, it's totally worth it, because these trees look 100,000 times better than the vanilla trees of the game. I look back at this park and I'm super happy with the way this is looking. These trees go very nicely with the new texture pack that I've downloaded back in episode 6. So I mean, it's amazing to see the progress of the game in the past year in terms of realism. I mean, not only in terms of realism, but in any aspect at all. I mean, in terms of what you can do with road networks, and in terms of mods that change the working of the game. It's really amazing the community that we have around this game who produce mods. You know, I mean, hats off to you guys. I mean, what you've created is simply amazing. And hats off to you guys too, my viewers. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't get the courage to create these videos every once in a while. And honestly, I've been pretty shitty to you guys in terms of releasing content and keeping promises. But, you know, with Aubrey City 2.0 in the works, everything seems to be working fine now. You know, my life schedule is a little bit more stable now as well. So I'm gonna make a promise to you guys this time that, you know, everything is gonna start to be a little bit more, not stable, but I'm gonna start to release more content to you guys. Honestly, you know, I mean, it's in the back of my mind all the time when I'm at work, when I'm at home. I'm like, holy crap, I gotta release a video. You know, I'm gonna start to lose subscribers. And I mean, I totally get you guys if you're frustrated with the way the channel's going, or if you're sort of losing hope in me. I can totally see that, guys. I know how you feel. But we're gonna turn this around, you know, with the new year starting off. You know, I feel nice and fresh now. The channel is gonna start to pick up. Honestly, guys, I'm really excited to bring you more content. It's going to be an awesome year in City Skylines and in this YouTube channel in general. I started a new series, which I think you guys should check out. It's not going to be a long one. It's going to be like 3 or maybe 4 episodes. I picked up this game called Event Zero over the holidays, and what it is, it's a sci-fi mystery sort of game. Basically, the story is you're stranded on a ship, and every aspect of the ship is controlled through a computer. So it's sort of like 2001: A Space Odyssey type story. I'm not going to go into too many details, but essentially over time your own ship starts to turn against you and tries to kill you. So it's pretty interesting so far, guys. I'm not to the end yet, and apparently there's multiple endings, so I'm curious to see which ending I'm going to end up with. So yeah, you guys can go ahead and check that series out. The first episode is out right now, and the second one is in the works at the moment. So essentially what's going on now in the game, guys, is I'm building this nice subdivision around the park, and it's going to be sort of incorporated within the park as well. So there's going to be trails leading in and out of the subdivision, and it's going to be not luxurious, but a little bit higher class, I would say. I mean, the area is propped up on a hill, so the residents who are living here are going to get a nice view of the river. It's going to be the sort of area where the cost of living is a little bit higher in that particular part of the city. So it's going to be quite nice, and I think it's going to be quite efficient as well. It'll enable citizens to maybe ride to work on their bike or even walk to work with all the trails leading in and out of the subdivision. So I have this master plan, if you will, for an entire trail network going throughout the city, and you got a glimpse of it last episode and the episode before that in the Chinatown episode, where I made this nice little park with trails leading up to it. And those trails are eventually going to connect to these trails that you're seeing right now, which are going to connect to other parks. And it's going to make this nice network throughout the entire city of walking trails and bike trails. And I think that should slightly improve traffic as well. Like I just said a minute ago, people are going to be more... they're going to be a little bit more enticed to walk to work or to bike to work. And I'm curious to see the effect that it's going to have in the long run. Now, if we're speaking traffic, I have some pretty big plans on public transportation as well. In the future episodes coming up, we're going to start to work on maybe a bus network. And also, I've prepared some train tracks throughout the city to start plopping down some train stations here and there. There's going to be a large main train station near the downtown area. And that's sort of going to be... I want that to be sort of a historical landmark as well, so that's going to be pretty unique, and I'm excited to incorporate that in the city. I also wanted to mention, guys, that originally my plan was to build a large interchange where the second part of the park is going to be that you're seeing right now. The only problem that I was having every time I tried to build the interchange is that steep hill. It was super hard to make anything that would look nice or that would function properly. I tried maybe 3 or 4 times to build something that would look, remotely nice and realistic. But every time I failed, I would build an interchange and I would end up deleting it because I would come back the next day and say, like, holy crap, what the hell did I build here? So I gave up on that, and I decided to sort of incorporate the large interchange into the smaller interchange that I built before to connect to the downtown area. So I think it looks really nice, and I mean, we've created a really cool looking park out of it too, so I'm really proud of that, honestly. That's probably one of the coolest things that I've ever built in the game so far. So yeah, I mean, the general idea for this area is going to be, there's going to be a nice open field in the middle where you can just sort of sit and, enjoy the sun, maybe suntan a little bit. And the inspiration for this place came from Central Park in New York, where you have that big open field in the middle. And I've also incorporated this nice little play park that you're going to see in a minute, as well as a nice little takeout restaurant or a hot dog stand, whatever you want to call it. So it makes this park a little nice place to come and relax, get away from the hustle and bustle of the city. So it's pretty cool. I'm super happy with it, guys, and I hope you are too, because it took a lot of time to build. The thing with making these kind of videos, these time lapse especially, is it takes about 4 or 5 hours of gameplay to make a half hour long video. So that's kind of the annoying part of it. What's fun about it is that you get a lot of content done in a short amount of time. So if I were to, make this live, it would have taken me at least 3 episodes to do what I've done in 1 episode. So that's one big advantage of it. The only thing that's not so great about it is it takes a lot more time to edit, it takes a lot more time to, make the video in the first place. But that's alright. I mean, I enjoy doing either one, either if it's live or time lapse. I enjoy it. It's really fun.
Check it out.
Now guys, I have no idea what I want to do for the next episode, episode 8. I'm either thinking of doing the university that's going to be right next to the park, or I'm thinking about doing the marina sort of luxurious port. Oh, there goes my phone again. I'm sorry guys. Oh, there it goes again. Okay, I'm gonna hold on. There, I just put it on silent. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so for the next episode, I mean, it's up to you guys. I either want to do the university or the nice marina that I was talking about a couple of episodes ago. It's up to you guys. If you guys even have any better ideas, just go for it, leave a comment. Majority wins. My main goal with this series is to give you guys a sense of, holy crap, I participated in creating this really amazing, nice, realistic city. And I find that you don't get that with any other YouTube channel. Everybody just sort of does their own thing and makes their own decisions, and you guys just follow along. I don't want that. I want you guys to be as immersed as possible in creating the city, and to get you guys' feedback and your suggestions and all your recommendations. Because frankly, every time that I've asked you guys to give me any suggestions, whether it be naming a park or a bridge or whatever it may be, your suggestion has always been super good. So I want to continue that. I want to keep that going. I want you guys to help me create Aubrey City, decide, where to plot my train stations or hospitals, or if ever you guys have any tips in general, you should build this or you should create that. I'm open to anything, guys. This is not just my city. It's going to be my city and your guys's. You're going to help me out in creating the best city Skylines city on YouTube. I guarantee it, and it's because of your participation. So that being said, guys, I'm gonna wrap up the episode now, but before I do, I want to give you guys a little cinematic reveal of the park with the new camera mod, whatever it's called. And also, guys, give me any suggestions on what I should name the park, and also what I should name the bridge that is around the park. So yeah, I mean, if you like this video, guys, give it a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to my channel for much more content on the way. I promise you guys, the content is going to start to pick up. And with 2017 just starting out, I'm super excited for where this channel and the City Skylines series is going to take us. So until the next episode, guys, take care.